I still remember the day that we left Auckland Airport after we first arrived. It was it was the 31st of July, 1994. And it was a lovely, it was winter, but it was a lovely sunny day. And the first impression I had is, wow, this is very green, but wow, this is very quiet.
Compared to Baghdad.
Compared to Baghdad, this is 5 billion population when I left. Probably it's more now. Very busy metropolitan, and life was so busy there. But here, like everything was so nice, so clean, so quiet, so peaceful. So that was basically the first impression. However, it's a place where you fall in love with it for a moment you come here. It's a wonderful, wonderful country, and it's a blessed country. People were wonderful, were very nice. Not a lot of people know a lot about Iraq, in spite of it being on the news for a lot of time, but a lot of people didn't know a lot of information about where we come from, or the idea they had about Iraq is totally different from what it is, or what it was at the time. But it's wonderful. Yeah, it was a lovely place.
In your experience, particularly perhaps in those early days, did you find New Zealand response to you as a new immigrant to the country to be one of tolerance and understanding, or were there, I suppose, obstacles to you? Did you feel like very much the outsider trying to fit in with society?
It was a mixed. A lot of people were more interested, like, oh, okay, that part of the world, do you have camels? Are there deserts? You know, do you live in a tent? So most people actually had no idea about the place I came from. A lot of people were surprised to find that we lived a very westernized life. You know, and like Baghdad was basically a modern city, really. I mean, yeah, there are parts in it that very not as modern as other parts, but in general, the reception was really good. There was no hostility at all. And on the other side, on the contrary, a lot of people were quite sympathetic because we had to leave the place where we lived and for so many years, trying to search for a new life. So a lot of people were very, very good. And I have to say, especially the Christian community, because the first thing we wanted to do when we first came here is to find a parish and go to church. Yep. Because we thought, okay, this is the first place we were going to make contact. And that was a beautiful experience. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing.
The Iraqi community in New Zealand, I understand there's quite a vibrant community, and in some ways you can have the best of both worlds. You can be in New Zealand but still have a little bit of the Iraqi culture as well. How do you balance that?
I have to say, what happened is when the first people came to New Zealand, the Iraqi, it's because it happened in waves. Quite often when you migrate to a new country, try and settle in a place where there's someone settles there for support. And you try and seek that support in someone either from the same country or from share the same faith with you, or from some environment you're trying to find some similarities or something in common. So that's why there was already a small number of Iraqi people settled in the North Shore, and we sort of went and lived in the North Shore when we first came in, and that community grew as time went by. However, I mean, most of us who came here came in an age, sort of relatively young age, and sooner or later most of us found our sort of our way through our professions, and or if we didn't do the same thing that we did back home, we sort of found our new a new way to sort of find a new job or study or do things. So the thing we enjoy now, yes, we enjoy a lot of Iraqi. We have a lot of Iraqi friends, but we also have a lot of Kiwi friends. We still can speak the language without having, sort of we won't forget the language. Our kids still enjoy being exposed to where their parents come from, plus they're pretty much New Zealanders because they were all born here and grew up here. So I think our kids will get more benefit of the double culture thing than us, because they will see where we come from, and we'll try and give them the lovely things from our culture, and also we're trying to encourage them to pick up the good things from the New Zealand culture. And that will be a wonderful thing if they can manage to get the good things from the two worlds and combine it together and come up with something nice.
For yourself, are you Iraqi? Are you a Kiwi? Are you both?
Our Kiwi friends they call us Kiwi Iraqis. New Zealand is pretty much home. It's been my home since 1994, and it will always be my home. However, part of me is Iraqi. Part of what made me was my culture and my community, and that's who I am. But I consider myself very much now a New Zealander.